All right, welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to be your guide today as we tackle something that's, let's be honest, notoriously frustrating but incredibly rewarding to master. Our main goal today is completely demystifying past tense verb endings. We're going to lock this down so the next time you're telling a story about what happened yesterday, you can speak English with total, undeniable confidence.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our lesson plan for today. 1. Cracking the past tense code. 2. The throat vibration test. 3. The 3 ED rules. 4. The irregular verb rebels. And finally, 5. Question and negative traps.
So, Section 1. Cracking the past tense code. Why exactly does English spelling trick us?
To set the right vibe for our session today, I want to share this fantastic quote by Oliver Wendell Holmes. He said, "Speak clearly, if you speak at all. Carve every word before you let it fall." I absolutely love that imagery. You know, carving a word implies precision, care, and deliberate action. And that is exactly what we're going to do with our spoken words today.
Now, the reason we really have to carve our words is because the English alphabet is, frankly, a bit of a trickster. Just think about the letter A. It sounds completely different in the words cat, car, and name. I mean, it's the exact same letter, but it produces entirely different sounds. Because written English spelling can totally deceive us, we're going to rely on a secret code today, the International Phonetic Alphabet, or the IPA. This is a brilliant system where one symbol equals exactly one pure, isolated sound. It is literally the ultimate cheat sheet for your pronunciation.
Moving right along to Section 2, the throat vibration test, we are going to feel the physical mechanics of sound. Since we know our written letters can't always be trusted, I actually want you to get physically involved right now wherever you are. Step 1, take 2 fingers and hold them gently against the front of your throat, right over your vocal cords. Step 2, say a base verb out loud. And Step 3, check for a shake or a buzz against your fingers. Go ahead, try saying the word cook. Now say play. Do you feel the difference at the very end of the word? When you finish that K sound in cook, your throat is still. That's what we call a voiceless sound. But when you hold the A sound in play, your fingers should be vibrating. That's a voiced sound. Feeling this physical difference is the absolute master key to unlocking our past tense rules.
Section 3. The 3 ED rules. Time to organize those well-behaved regular verbs.
Keep that throat vibration test fresh in your mind, because what's really interesting about this slide is our first rule, the extra syllable rule. If you look at that IPA pronunciation column, you'll see the symbol for the id sound. We only ever use this specific pronunciation if the base verb already ends in a T or a D sound. And if you think about it, it makes total sense. If you try to add another T sound to the end of the word want, it's practically impossible to say smoothly. So English literally forces us to add an entirely new, distinct syllable. Want becomes wanted, decide becomes decided. It stretches from 2 syllables into 3.
Now let's look at rule number 2. This is for all of those voiceless sounds where your throat doesn't shake, like the P in help or the sh in wash. Because there's no vocal cord vibration at the end of these base words, our past tense ending also gets no vibration. It becomes a pure, soft t sound. So when you say helped, whatever you do, don't add an extra vowel. Just push a short, sharp breath of air out of your mouth to create that t. Help becomes helped. Wash becomes washed. And that brings us to rule 3. This rule is for all the other verbs that end in a voiced sound. Think back to our physical test with the word play. You felt that buzz, right? Well, because the base word vibrates your vocal cords, the past tense ending must also vibrate. So, the ED makes a pure D sound. Play becomes played. Clean becomes cleaned. Again, absolutely do not overpronounce a silent E here. Just let your vocal cords buzz to create that D at the very end of the word.
All right, Section 4, the irregular verb rebels. These are the ones that completely defy all the rules we just learned.
You've mastered the regular verbs, but now we have to talk about the words that completely ignore our beautifully structured phonetic columns. So the crucial point here is understanding how drastically these rebels operate. Over on the left, we have the predictable addition of our ed suffix. Play smoothly transitions to played. But look at the right. The verb sing doesn't become singed. No way. It transforms entirely into sang. The whole middle of the word completely shifts. These rebels require a totally different strategy.
Because these rebels don't follow the ED rule, a lot of students just try to brute force memorize them from massive alphabetical lists. But let me tell you, grouping these rebels by pattern is vastly more effective. This first pattern group is what we call the vowel changers. Notice how the middle vowel shifts from an I or a U to an A, but the ends of the word stay structurally similar. Sing becomes sang. Drink becomes drank. Run becomes ran. If you memorize the pattern rather than the individual word, it is going to stick in your memory so much better.
Next up, we have the big changes group. These verbs don't just politely swap a vowel. They undergo a complete structural transformation. Go turns into went. Buy transforms all the way into bought. And I really want to emphasize this because these happen to be some of the absolute most common verbs in the entire English language. You will literally use them every single day, which is exactly why we just have to put in the effort to memorize these complete transformations.
And this brilliantly illustrates our third and frankly easiest group of rebels, the no-change verbs. These words are incredibly stubborn. They stay visually identical whether they're in the present or the past tense. Put is simply put. Cut is cut. But I do have to give you a quick warning about the word read. It looks exactly the same, but there's a tricky pronunciation shift. In the past tense, it is pronounced exactly like the color red. I read a book last night.
Finally, Section 5, Question and Negative Traps, addressing the most common error out there. We are in the final stretch here, tackling the absolute biggest structural traps students fall into. So I want to pose a quick pop quiz directly to you, and really think about the mechanics here before we reveal the answer. What exactly happens to one of these rebel irregular verbs, like went or sang, when you suddenly need to ask a question or when you need to make a negative statement? Any guesses? Here is the golden rule. The verb goes right back to normal. It completely drops its past tense disguise and reverts to its base form. Why? Because when we use questions in negative sentences in English, we introduce auxiliary words like did or didn't. Those helper words step right in and do all of the past tense heavy lifting for you. Let's walk through this direct comparison so you can firmly grasp how to avoid this trap. On the left is the incorrect usage. You'll hear people say things like, did you went or I didn't went. The speaker is accidentally doubling up on the past tense. They're putting the past tense on the helper word did and on the main verb went. That is way too much past tense for one sentence. On the right is the correct usage. Because did is already in the past tense, the main verb relaxes completely back to its base form. Did you go? And I didn't go. It's incredibly clean, precise, and grammatically perfect.
So, here we are at the end of our explainer. You've successfully cracked the phonetic code. You've mapped out the physical throat vibrations. You've memorized the 3 regular ED rules, and you've met those unpredictable, irregular rebels. You even know how to navigate the question traps. But I'm going to leave you with this provocative challenge. Knowing the rules here is one thing, but will your vocal cords remember to buzz and shake properly in your very next real-world conversation? Well, there's only one way to find out. Get out there and start practicing.